Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with KeepInkingup.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up in San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share how I made this super cute card using the Home to Roost stamp set. The Home to Roost stamp set is one of our celebration stamp sets that is available right now for every $50 order between now and the end of March. And to be quite honest with you, this particular stamp set did not stand out to me when I first saw it in the celebration brochure. I did like the fonts of the sentiments, but I just wasn't quite sure, so it wasn't on my first order. But I eventually got it, and now I use it all the time. I can't believe that I didn't like it immediately. I think this rooster is just super cute, and I really like this grassy stamp as well. So this is the stamp set that we're going to be using for this card. So what do we need? Let me bring in my supplies here. I'm going to start with a Bermuda Bay card base. This has cut at 4 1/4 by 11, so it has been scored in half. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it, line up the bottoms, and I'm going to burnish my fold line with my bone folder to make my card stay nice and flat. I also have another piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock that I've already embossed with our Hexagons, what is it called? Hexagon Dynamic Impressions embossing folder. It's one of those super thick folders that gives a really deep impression. And I thought this kind of looked like chicken wire, so I thought it went nicely with the rooster theme. So I can go ahead and attach this to my card base. I never know which side to use. I used this side for this card, so I think that I'm going to go ahead and use the other side for this card. Now, whenever I am adhering pieces of cardstock that have been heavily embossed like this, I like to use the Tomo multi-purpose liquid glue so that it goes in all the little cracks of the embossed piece. So I can go ahead and center this on my card base, and because it's the liquid glue, I have a couple of seconds to kind of shimmy it around so I can get it as centered as possible. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is a handmade item, so it's okay if it's not exactly perfect, but I think that looks super cute. I like that side. Anyway, we'll see which we'd like better. I can go ahead and set that aside for now, and we can start our stamping. I have a piece of Crumb Cake Card Stock that is, what is this? It is 4 1/4 by 2 inches, and we are going to stamp that with that grassy stamp that I like so much in Soft Suede Ink on the Crumb Cake Card Stock. So I'm going to ink up my grass, and I'm going to stamp it down, and without inking it again, I'll stamp it again just to give a little bit of depth. And I'll stamp and stamp it again. And I'll go all the way across my piece of paper here just to give a lot of grassy look there. I think that looks good. Yeah. Okay. And I'll leave that open because I'm going to do some more stamping. But right now I can go ahead and attach this piece to my card base. So I'll add some more liquid glue on here. And I'll put it kind of toward the top. Well, let's put it right about there. I think that looks good. We'll hold that down for just a couple of seconds for it to adhere, and I'll set that aside so we can continue on with our stamping. Here I have one of the largest circles from the Stitched Shapes framelits. This is probably my most used set of framelits, and I tend to gravitate towards the circles for some reason. So I use this particular stitched shape a lot. So this is the largest circle, and this is where we're going to stamp our rooster on. He's just so cute. And now I'm going to just ink up again with the Soft Suede Ink and stamp that about in the center of the circle, approximately. Doesn't have to be perfect again. That looks great. And before I put my ink away, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I'm going to be using the Just a Note sentiment. I'm going to pull it toward me so I can see a little better. This is just a 1/2 inch piece of cardstock that one of my leftovers from when I trimmed for my layers on my cards. So I'm going to try to center this, pardon my head if it gets in the way. Center that a little bit on there. It's a little bit crooked, but that's okay because we are going to punch it out using the classic label punch. So I'm going to line this up in here, and I'm going to pull it over so that the J on the Just a Note is kind of far to the left, and I'm going to punch that out. And I'm going to adhere that to a piece of pumpkin pie that I've already pre-cut using that same classic label punch. I'll put a little bit of glue. You don't need very much, just a little bit of glue on the bottom of the sentiment piece. And I'm going to attach that like a little shadow. Oh, maybe I'll move it like that. That looks kind of cute. That's different from my sample. I kind of like that. We'll go with that. And it's a little crooked there. I think that looks good. All right, so we'll put that aside while we work on our coloring. I can close up this ink pad so I don't have a catastrophe there. And we are going to now color in this cute little rooster with a bunch of Stampin' Blends. I love my Stampin' Blend markers. They just paint like butter on your paper. So I'm going to start with my 2 Cherry Cobbler markers. If you're not familiar with them, in our Stampin' Blends, they have 2 tips. They have a bullet tip with this fine line here, and the thick line over here means this is the brush tip. Now, because I'm going to be coloring in, I don't know what you call that part of the rooster, but above his head, the little wibbly wobbly parts, since that's a small area, I'm going to use the bullet tip. So I'm going to open my blend, and I'm going to color in. Look how smooth that goes on. You won't see any marker strokes. So I colored in a little bit of with the light color. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the dark Cherry Cobbler, just kind of close to his beak, just to add a little bit of depth to that color. And I'll blend that out with the lighter one again. I think that looks cute. So we're done with the Cherry Cobbler. Now we'll move on to the pumpkin pie markers. Now for this one, I'm going to be coloring in this top feathers, and so for this I can use the brush tip. So again, I'll start with the light pumpkin pie and just kind of look again, they're so smooth, no marker lines at all. Isn't that pretty? And then we'll come in with the dark, and I'll do the face and like the top of his body and some of the feathers on the bottom. Then I'll come back with the light one and blend that line a little bit so we don't have a harsh line. Leave a little bit of the light color there. I think that looks great. Then I'll come with my soft suede colors to do this other little part of his feathers toward his backside here. I'll do the light color again first. Then the dark. Now you'll notice that I'm closing my marker lids right away. You don't want them to dry out. These are alcohol markers and they will dry out. So make sure that you close your lids and you hear that snap to make sure they're closed. So that's good. Now I'm on to the crumb cake markers for his belly. Just quickly add some color. Add the darker shade. Blend those lines. Super cute. And now for the really fun part. His tail feathers. I'm using Bermuda Bay to go with the Bermuda Bay card base that I have going. And that's actually one of the things that I like most about Stampin' Up! Is the color coordination. I love how the markers are the same color as the cardstock, is the same color as the ink pads. Everything coordinates really well, so it makes for a really pulled together look on your final result project. So I've got my Bermuda Bay blends. I'm just going to kind of messily go on these feathers just to add a bit of color, spark of color. I'll come with the dark one, do the same thing, just kind of messy, and then maybe I'll add a little bit of color here at the base of his tail just to kind of darken it up some. And then finally, I need to add a little bit of ground on here. Now I had so much brown, so even though he's probably standing in dirt, I went ahead and chose the light old olive marker. So he's standing in grass because I had too much brown already. I wanted to add some more color. And then I'll use the color lifter just to kind of fade that out a little bit so it's not quite so harsh. And that looks terrific. Isn't that cute? Look how cute that rooster is. I just think he's adorable. So now we're ready to attach a layer to the to the back side of him. This is a piece of pumpkin pie that I cut out using the layering circles thinlits, and this is the largest scallop in that set of thinlits. So again, I'm going to use glue. Oh, you can see on the back side how the blends bled through the paper, so it's very important that you protect your work surface with some sort of paper. I like using our grid paper for stamping off, as you can see all around here that I've done, but also to protect my surface when I color with my blends. So I'm going to add a little bit of the liquid glue on that, which gives me time to squish this on here to get the nice equal scallops around my rooster. That looks good. Now I'll pull in our card base and I'm going to pop him up on dimensionals because I think everything looks better when it's popped up a little bit. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals. I tend to put 3 on all of my circle elements. Pull off the paper backings. And then I will center the rooster on my strip of crumb cake with the grass. That looks pretty good. And now I need to add my sentiment. Again, I'll pop him up with dimensionals. Oh, you know what? I'm going to cut some of these edge pieces that I have. It's always good to use these edge pieces on my sentiment here. Where's my, yeah. And I'll peel that one off and add that to the bottom here. Right about there. And then I will trim off the extra from my card. And isn't that cute? I just think that rooster is so adorable. So here's the card we just made. Here's the other one. You can kind of see the difference of the background and the embossing folder. So anyway, isn't that super cute? I just love this cute little rooster. So that is the Home to Roost stamp set. It's free during celebration between now and the end of March. So I hope you have a chance to earn this set for free. So thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.